If I were to ask you the best player on Titanfall 2 right now, you might say someone like the guy you saw drop 53 kills, you might say you're one of your favourite content creators, you might say someone you saw streaming one day who looked good. But what if I told you you're probably completely wrong? Titanfall has developed into a game with an almost limitless skill ceiling. One where incredibly talented players clash with new casuals every game. But what if I could list some of the best players without you knowing a single one of them? You see, when Titanfall 2 released, the best players were quickly recognised. With such early beginnings in the game, it was easy to recognise players who went above and beyond the starting skill level, chaining movement and good aim to be a formidable force to be reckoned with. But after years of release, constant spans of unplayability, and limited player counts, you'd only be able to identify the best players if you were in the know. Even I for one could not tell you the best players on PC or PS4 at the moment because I'm not connected with the highly skilled players there is. Yes, I play on PC every so often, but I still couldn't say who was outstanding against the rest. And why is this? There are several factors influencing it. Skill gap, content, competitive and population. Let's start with the skill gap. Because of the length of time after release of Titanfall 2, the game has been out for over 5 years. This means that lots of players are far above the average skill level of players a few years ago. This forced players to gravitate towards the higher level of skill, and because there is always a skill ceiling in no matter what game you play, more players are reaching their skill ceiling, so it's hard to identify who is a good player and who is a world-class player. It begins to get easier when we see players compete in tournaments, but we'll save that part for competitive discussion. Content is a massive factor in who you believe to be pro or the best player in the game. Because of the history and the way the game has no competitive game mode, without a relatively large following on a social media platform, 90% of Titanfall players won't even know who you are, no matter whether you're the best or not, and therefore won't be able to compare you to the content creators they see who they believe to be the best at Titanfall. Take me for example. People see me play Kraber with a controller, and no one else that I know of makes YouTube videos that mains controller Kraber. So you might think that I'm the best controller Kraber main right now. I've certainly received comments saying so, but I'm not. There are people better than me at controller Kraber that you won't know because they don't post content. They just play. This scenario can be applied to the best of the best. The majority of the best players I've ever seen do not post content. Because of this, no one knows who they are. You might be asking, well, how good are these players actually that you're talking about? So let's put it into context. What would you think a good amount of kills and attrition is? 40? 50 maybe? Players I've met are disappointed when they don't get a 60 and frequently hit the top levels of 70 and 80 kill games. Let me show you a screenshot of one of these amazing talented players. And this is the crazy thing, these might not even be the best, because I don't know everyone on Japan servers for example. It's crazy to think that the best players may never even be found. The community regards players as the best if they are continually shown proof of players being better. This is why content creators like me and others get called the best when in fact we're not even close. Now onto competitive. Titanfall 2 obviously doesn't have a competitive mode, and this means there is no official number or statistic to split and judge players based on skill. The closest we have to this is 1v1s. The best players usually 1v1 in a private match to determine who is the better player, but yet again, unless you know the good players, you would never hear of who beat who. Competitive pickup games or pugs still happen, but again, you either need to know the right people or be in the right Discord for access. And finally, the dwindling player count furthers the confusion. Players who might have been recognised as the best may have quit, or players who quit might come back. So overall, we may never know who is the best player or best players really are, but I wanted to highlight the disparity between content creators and pro players. It's possible to be both, but most of the time the content creators are the best at their content creation and the pro players are the best at the game, yet get hardly the amount of recognition that content creators like me get. Thank you all for watching this discussion, I appreciate you watching. Have a good one and I hope you enjoyed.